I've said for many years, the funniest Pokemon players are the competitive ones. It's really not even close. Scientists have done studies to decide and figure out why this is. We haven't come to a conclusion. Maybe it's just because competitive players skew towards the older side of the spectrum of the complete Pokemon fan base. But regardless, Freezeye has made a video based on the best competitive Pokemon memes. And honestly, this is the best we're going to get in terms of humor from this community. So let's take a look at it.
I asked my Discord for the funniest, best competitive Pokemon memes, and they delivered. I'm here to explain the context, what they mean, and why do a lot of people think they're funny.
So, yeah, exactly. So even if you're not a competitive player like myself, I'm a little bit of an idiot. I do a Then We Fight every now and then, but I'm not really a competitive player. I've never went to a VGC before. I am actually going to the London EUIC. So I will EUIC you there if you're also going. Or I mean, you don't have to you don't have to go. I have so many buttons that can make my face zoom in. It's just ridiculous. I can even like follow my head too.
Also, if you want to join the Discord, you can check the link in the description to join the Discord. We have 4,000 people and we're trying to get to 10,000 by the end of the month. But let's get—
All right, by the end of the month, let's go, baby. Get inside the Discord, baby. I will link the Discord in the description of this video, this reaction as well. If you would like to join Freezeye's Discord server, would highly recommend it. Of course, Freezeye will also be linked his video and his channel into the description. Please do subscribe. He makes fantastic competitive Pokemon videos.
Get into it. The first meme is a bit of a classic meme, and if you've been around the competitive community for a while, you've definitely seen this image.
What?
The idea is that Arceus Steel and Arceus Flying have the same color palette.
Wait, they do? Like the exact same color palette? That doesn't seem to make much sense. Isn't Flying more of a light blue and Steel's more of a gray? Okay, so Arceus Steel that's rock. Arceus Steel is, yeah, it's very gray. And Arceus Flying, oh, they do look different in the usual gifts, but oh, is it on Showdown? They don't change it, so it just looks the same? Because this is how it looks like in the gifts, but in the Showdown game, it might just look the same because, you know, Showdown is different to the regular games.
So just by looking at it, you wouldn't be able to tell which is which. Ordinarily, that's not a problem because the name will be written on the screen and you can tell. But what if you nickname your Arceus Flying as Arceus Steel? Then you can trick your opponent into accidentally earthquaking, thinking it's an Arceus Steel when it's not.
Wait, that's Omega Brain, what?
This was a pretty funny incident. But since then, they've made it so that you can't nickname your Pokemon a different Pokemon, so you can't do this anymore.
Okay, wait. Arceus Steel, Arceus Flying, Arceus Flying, Arceus Steel. A ruse, is it? A jape. Oh, I'm sorry. Have you fallen for the ruse? Have you fallen for it, you fool? You idiot. You thought you were smart. You thought you wouldn't be brought in by propaganda. You too smart to be advertised to. But no, you fell for it just like everyone else does. You bought the McDonald's Big Mac, which in this game was earthquaking Arceus Flying.
But back then, it was very common to nickname your Arceus as a different Arceus type. This meme is from Generation 3, where—
What? What is going on? Like, what is happening here? Yeah, I'm gonna need the explainer for this one.
Explosion is a really common move. Back before Generation 5, Explosion was much stronger than you would realize. The reason is because it's a 250 base power move, but what it doesn't tell you is that behind the scenes it actually cuts your opponent's defense in half.
Which is insane, by the way. So it's like, what? I don't know. I don't think it really equivalates. It's a big word. It's also not a word. To a 500 base stat power move, but it does so much. It's ridiculous. It's a ridiculous move. I mean, no one uses it anymore because it's not as ridiculous. It does about half as much as it used to. But it used to be super, super good.
That doesn't happen in Generation 5 onwards, but it was a very important part of the metagame before that.
Look at that. That was resisted damage. It's over half. And it's not stab, it was resisted. Ridiculous.
It was really common to build strategies around Explosion because you could explode your opponent, take out a key Pokemon, and then win the game from there. You might be wondering, how does that make sense? You're trading one Pokemon for one Pokemon. But the point is, you don't make an equal trade. Even though it's one Pokemon for one Pokemon, the trade you're making is benefiting you. For example, you can trade a weaker Pokemon on your side for a Pokemon that's really important to your opponent. Or maybe you can trade a Pokemon that's about to faint on its last legs at 20% HP and trade it for a full health 100 HP Pokemon.
Yeah, like Metagross, I don't know if it got Stealth Rocks back in the day, but it gets Stealth Rocks now. So, like, in theory, you run Stealth Rocks, you get Stealth Rocks up, you've got that, that's great. And then you explode, you trade one for one. They don't get their Stealth Rocks. That'd be a sick scenario, right? Or spikes, maybe,
The
something like
idea
that.
is that Explosion is a great way to make progress in Generation 3 and any metagame from back then.
And also, Metagross being slow, but also bulky, it's a great Pokemon to use on, has a huge attack stat, also has priority, so you can maybe get some damage off first, then explode later.
But there's a problem when Metagross wants to use Explosion. If it explodes into a Ghost-type Pokemon, it's going to faint and do nothing.
Yeah, it's like, to explain this in Dragon Ball terms, this is when Majin Vegeta tried the final explosion on Majin Buu, unfortunately doing very little to Majin Buu. It was able to reassemble itself very, very easily. So Gengar in this situation is Majin Buu, which is weird because Gengar is related in the lore to Clefable, and Clefable looks a little bit like Majin Buu. Is Pokemon Dragon Ball?
So typically, as a Metagross Pokemon trying to use Explosion, you would wait for the Gengar to faint before you would explode, that way it's truly risk-free. Metagross is literally waiting for that opportunity. This is a meme from early 2023, right when Pokemon Scarlet and Violet first came out. The metagame was dominated by the Glimmora, Goldengo, Espathra.
When I'm in a Virgin competition and my opponent is Glimmora, Goldengo, Espathra.
Core. The first Pokemon here, Glimmora, had Stealth Rock, Spikes, and could set Toxic Spikes with its ability.
Wait, oh, Glimmora did. Dude, I thought you said Espathra had Stealth Rocks. I was trying to do the maths in my head. I was trying to figure that one out. I was like, where do the rocks come from? They come from, where are they?
Then Goldengo would come in with its Ghost typing and its ability. Its Ghost typing blocks Rapid Spin, and then its ability blocks Defog, which means that Glimmora's hazards are pretty much going to stay up all game. And then finally, you clean up the game with Espathra with Calm Mind, Stored Power, and then Terrestrialization and Speed Boost.
Oh,
Everybody
that's so
was
gross.
using it, and it had a lot of criticism because it was a very straightforward strategy. You would always lead Glimmora, you would always use Goldengo to block hazards, and you would always win with the Espathra sweep.
Oh, what a shocker. Leading with Stealth Rocks. How interesting. What is this? Hehe. Sorry. Rocky Helmet, Intimidate, Flame Body, Poison Blade. Wait, I've always thought this. Why is there so much preventing special or physical moves, but there's so little preventing special moves? You'll never understand my pain. Like, Intimidate literally exists. It's one of the best abilities in the game. It shocks me that there's not been a special Intimidate, but at the same time, I almost don't want them to make a special Intimidate because Intimidate is already so annoying to play against.
Special attackers have a fundamental problem in single battles. They have no way to break Blissey in most scenarios. Not all scenarios, some special attackers can beat Blissey, but most cannot. There's also Assault Vest too, but that's more common in double battles than single battles. In single battles, you have a major issue trying to break this one Pokemon.
Oh my god, a Blissey using Calm Mind makes me want to throw up. I don't want to see that. You should put a trigger warning on that. That's insane.
But for physical attacks, you don't have a Blissey analog. You have maybe Mega Aggron in Generation 6 and 7, but overall you don't have a Pokemon like Blissey on the physical side. However, you do have a lot more different ideas. You have Rocky Helmet, you have Intimidate, you have Burn who can half your attack, you have Iron Barbs, you have Foul Play, you have Poison Point, Flame Body, Static. So whether you're a special or a physical attacker, you have your own problems to deal with, but it's just funny comparing the two.
One is Blissey and the other is like a whole line of things that was made to equal it out.
Side by side. There are two memes on the screen right now. The first one is Prankster Encore Whimsicott.
He will never click Encore. He clicked Encore. Oh no. How do we nerf U-turn? Make it 60 battle power. All right, technician. Shut up, Scizor. Forgot his name. I'm sorry.
Hot. Whimsicott is relevant competitively because Prankster Encore means it will always move first and then lock you into a move. So whatever you do, Whimsicott will capture that and then Encore, making you do it again. That's pretty problematic.
Oh, I didn't even realize the meme was just repeating the same sentence because he said it would never click Encore. Then he got Encored into saying he will never click Encore. Damn. These memes, they have layers. They're like onions, not the Shrek kinds. It's not a Shrek joke. I'm not referencing that. You see that up there? It's my cat. I drew that.
When it's a move like Fake Out or any other move that you don't want to be using over and over again. Then we have U-Turn, a 70 base power bug type move which switches out when you attack. Because switching is so good for momentum, it's a very common move. So if you wanted to nerf U-Turn, maybe you could drop it from 70 base power to 60 base power.
Scizor would love
But
that.
Scizor has an ability, Technician, which turns a 60 base power move into a 90 base power move. If you were to nerf U-Turn to 60 base power, you would actually be making it 90 base power for Scizor.
Maybe Scizor deserves it because it's rocking that massive quad weakness. But actually, no, it doesn't. It's so good. I love Scizor, though. It's such a sick mon.
Now, this is a genre of meme that is very specific to the 2013-2014 range.
I remember this. Okay. Picture this. It's 2013. Pokemon X and Y has just released. The birds are chirping. The flowers are blooming. The cherry blossoms are flowing through the air. All is well in the world. And the first playthrough happens. You get to the end of the game and you think, ooh, it's time to get into some competitive battling. And you go online and every single team has Talonflame and Aegislash. Talonflame and Aegislash just everywhere. They're all over the place. Talonflame and Aegislash all the time because priority Gale Wings and Aegislash is ridiculously busted. That's all you face. That's all you battle. You can't play against anything else. There's no chance. You can't survive.
Back then, Pokemon XY had just come out and Pokemon ORAS Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire was not released yet. And one Pokemon was dominating the metagame, and that was Brave Bird Talonflame. With Gale Wings, Talonflame's Brave Bird would always attack first.
Its ability is Brave Bird. Gives priority to Brave Bird moves. It's funny because Talonflame's attack stat is not really that high ever.
The most common strategy at that time was literally going with Talonflame and using Brave Bird over and over again. You're always the fastest Pokemon on the field, and you're pretty strong because Brave Bird is a powerful move.
If you ban that, you're crazy damage. Also, you could get priority Roost if you were banned it. It was ridiculous.
With a choice band, for example, all you need to do is use Brave Bird over and over and over again. It became a bit of a meme that that's all you need to do to win battles. Now, obviously, it is a meme, so it is playing it up a bit more than it actually was, but Brave Bird Talonflame was incredibly common.
I love how we have the old one. Flame Body, wait, it says on the thing, Flame Body, Talonflame not included. If a rock type appears, please just restart the game.
However, once Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire came out, they introduced more Pokemon, general power creep, and Talonflame wasn't as strong as it was during X and Y.
And then they nerfed it.
But still, these memes are like a time capsule for what it was like back during that period of 2013-2014.
I do miss it ever so slightly. It was a nice time to be around. Everyone was on YouTube. Everyone was excited and hyped about the new generation. Everyone was doing Wi-Fi battles against each other. I mean, it's not that bad now. Everyone's still excited about the new games coming out, but it was definitely an interesting time. It was an interesting time in my life. I had just finished high school. I was going to university, so a time of change, and I'll remember it forever, very fondly.
The meme on the left is a meme about Dondozo and Tatsugiri. Now, Tatsugiri's shiny form is pure white in color, and it has an ability Commander. It can literally...
Oh, dude. Wait, I want to go back and read this. Hold on, I want to go back. God, I'm getting tired. How long till we reach the VGC? Bro, we inserted Dondozo. Okay, I can see what's happening here.
It is pure white in color, and it has an ability Commander. It can literally enter a Dondozo and then boost the Dondozo stats.
Yeah.
The next meme is referencing the DLC.
Okay, wait, we're not gonna explain what's going on here. We're not gonna go any further in depth. You're not gonna say it? I don't think he's gonna say come. All right, let's move on to the next one. OU. Get out of here, you moochers! That's right, keep moving. Except you. You stay. Oh my god, did they all get wait, did all of these Pokemon get removed from OU? What? Wait, Heatran, Garchomp? No, surely not. Mamoswine? Rotom Wash? No. The Rabombi stayed? That's actually kind of hype because I love Rabombi.
See? During the Pokemon DLC for Scarlet and Violet, a lot of new Pokemon entered the format. Unfortunately, it also means that a lot of other Pokemon were power crept and had to leave to go to the second tier. Pokemon like Garchomp moved to UU the second tier because it was not good enough to compete in the modern metagame.
Just think about that. That is ridiculous. Power creep is insane.
But one Pokemon that didn't drop was Rabombi. Even though there are powerhouse Pokemon like Heatran and Mamoswine and Garchomp, Rabombi found a niche as a sticky web Pokemon, and that kept it up in OU the first tier, while all the other Pokemon dropped to UU.
God, I love
Torterra got
Rabombi.
Shell Smash in Generation 9, and that was a big difference. Ordinarily, Torterra is a pretty trash Pokemon. Now, it's not that trash, but it's still not great either. In any case, there's something really interesting. Dragapult is generally considered to be the fastest relevant Pokemon in the metagame. As it happens, when a Torterra uses a Shell Smash, by only 1 point, it's faster than the fastest Pokemon.
Oh, that's really, really funny. We don't know that for sure. You can't stop me. I've raced you before, Tort. I even won some of those races. Those were for charity, Pulse. No, I do love that. I actually love that Torterra is relevant. because Torterra is one of those Pokemon that even if you think about Gen 4, like you're thinking about maybe Infinite, you're thinking about Empoleon, no one's thinking about Torterra. I love all the Generation 4 starters. I want them all to shine. Empoleon has a really good type, and everybody likes Infinite, obviously. Have you seen the guy? Now, Torterra is finally getting its moment in the sun. I've used it in some Then We Fight videos. It's done so well. I'm just excited to see Torterra doing so good now.
Landorus would try and Stealth Rock, and Tornadus T would try and Defog, and this was a pretty common interaction in the lead metagame. Both players would use...
Can I read this? Hey, bro! Hey. Tornadus used knockoff. Been a while since I seen you, little bro. Is he doing well? Still hanging out with those rain guys? Rain teams? Oh, you know, still kind of bummed about being UUBL. UU borderline, which is the borderline of the UU tier in Smogon. I really wish we could all hang around more often. Tornadus used defog. Landorus used knockoff. Can't agree more, bro. Any news from sis? Holed up in her room as usual. Honestly, after 300 years, you'd think she'd get over the humans' reaction to her appearance. Tornadus used U-turn. Landorus used U-turn. Anyway, see you around. Take care of yourself. Then greeting sister, sup bitch. Oh no, did it use his explosion in the next one? No. Hey bro, hey, it's been a while. How ratio bitch explosion. What the fuck? Man, I love this stuff.
Use U-turn, Stealth Rock, Defog, whatever it is to try and manage hazards. But the meme on the right is a play on the meme on the left, and it has a very interesting Pokemon with Explosion Landorus T. Explosion Landorus T subverts expectations because you expect it to be a U-turn defensive Pokemon. But if you explode at the right time, you can often take out a key Pokemon of your opponent. Even though it's not like the old gens and Explosion isn't as strong, because Landorus's attack is so high, it's often worth it even though Explosion is nerfed compared to before. Roaring Moon is a very popular Dragon Dance Pokemon, but Clodsire has the Unaware ability. With Unaware, it's immune to all the stat changes from Roaring Moon, and Roaring Moon can only attack it unboosted.
I love how they scribbled out the paragraph of text here and just said nah instead. Also, who drew this? This is a really cute piece of art. I love this. This is really nice. The opposing Landorus used knockoff. Clefable lose 18% of its health. 18? Hey, this motherfucker got them fake magic cards! Then you have Toxic? Dude, I don't even know what's going on with this one. Alright, I need this one to be explained to me, I think.
In that regard, Clodsire can actually wall it, and it looks pretty goofy when it does. The meme on the right is probably one of the more iconic memes. Clefable often runs the Magic Guard ability to be immune to moves like Stealth Rock and Spikes, and also be immune to moves like Toxic or Willow.
Oh, wait, he's wearing heavy-duty boots, so he got the fake Magic Guard.
But sometimes, Clefable wants to use Unaware instead. Just like how Clodsire can wall a ton of Pokemon with Unaware, Clefable can do that too. But if Clefable goes Unaware, it does have to be careful about how it manages stuff like Will-O-Wisp and Stealth Rock. One of the ways Clefable likes to do that is with the item Heavy Duty Boots.
That's so smart. You use Heavy Duty Boots so you don't take damage from Stealth Rock, so your opponent thinks you have Magic Guard, and then you whip out the Unaware so you can counter Pokemon that's set up. That's so smart.
Heavy Duty Boots makes it immune to Stealth Rock, so you wouldn't even know it's Unaware. You might think it's Magic Guard. So you can fool your opponent by using Unaware Heavy Duty Boots, and they try and go for a setup win, and then they find out you're actually Unaware. Know the difference between dropping to UU. UU is the second tier competitively. When Garchomp drops to UU, it is pretty sad because it's always been a top tier Pokemon and a really good top tier Pokemon at that.
But when Torterra does it, it's a cause, but maybe not even, maybe celebration, because it means that it could get to OU in the first place. You know, the ability to drop to UU, it's like saying, I wish I had that much money to waste. If someone loses like 50k in gambling, it's like, well, you know what? You had 50k to waste in the first place, and that's pretty sick.
So when it drops to UU, it's pretty unfortunate. But Torterra, for most of its life, has been at the very bottom tier. We're not even talking about the second or third tier. It's always been, the 5th tier or the 6th tier. So when Torterra only drops to the 2nd tier, it's a big win for Torterra because now it's actually finally usable. The final one is a reference to a meme known as Ice Punch Dusknoir. And this requires a little bit of a backstory, so I'll go to the next one. It comes from an r/Pokemon post where someone was talking about how on the ladder they made somebody angry because of their Ice Punch Dusknoir critting Landorus T, the king of Pokemon.
Okay. Smogon really hates and fears anything that disrupts their preferred meta, even if it is not actually that effective or can be countered. Fun story. I once beat an OU pro with basically a team of Pokemon I just liked using. I had never heard someone scream so loud on my Dusknoir, my favorite Pokemon. Could have landed T with an ice punch and kill it. Man legit tried to rip me to pieces because I beat the king of OU with a Dust Noir.
It turned
Okay, yeah, that definitely happened.
into a big meme for many reasons.
No, you can't use your favorite against the king of OU. This is definitely not a thing that happened. This is not a real thing. This is an I made this up kind of deal right now, right?
One is that if you're low ladder and you beat another person on the low ladder, it doesn't really mean anything. Because you're matched up against people of a similar play strength, you're not playing an OU pro when you're at the very bottom.
He said, I once beat an OU pro with a team Pokemon I just liked using. How would he even be that high on the ladder if he's not really taking it too seriously in the first
playing
place?
Someone who's just as inexperienced as you. So to reference that one battle as meaningful became a bit of a joke. But there's layers to it. Beating a Pokemon with a 4-time super effect isn't really meaningful because any Pokemon can do that. So that itself added another layer of contempt for the post. But even then, on top of that, with a 4-time super effect, it still needed a critical hit for the strategy to work. The post itself became a bit of a meme in the community, and there were a ton of memes referencing that, including this very well done artwork about Ice Punch Dusknoir defeating a Landorus.
That's
this meme
so
is
cute.
about black and white Ubers, which is Gen 5 Ubers. Now, Gen 5 in particular didn't have Defog being able to remove hazards. You had to use Rapid Spin in order to remove hazards in Gens 4 and 5. Now, that's already a little bit annoying, but it goes on to a different level in Uber. No legendary Pokemon gets Rapid Spin. So if you want a way to control hazards in Ubers, you would have to use a lower tier Pokemon like Fortress. And even
Which no one wants to do. So they're just going to click Magikarp over and over again to try and reflect the Stealth Rocks back at the original user.
and then it doesn't actually Rapid Spin past a Pokemon like Giratina who has high defenses. So you basically have a choice. Do you use 5 Uber legendary Pokemon and 1 support Pokemon like Fortress, or do you use 6 Uber legendary Pokemon? Oftentimes people will skip Rapid Spin in order to get that 6th legendary Uber on their team. But if you do that, you need other ways to prevent Stealth Rock. One of those ways is Magic Coat Deoxys Speed. Deoxys Speed can pretty easily get hazards up with Stealth Rock,
It's still going. What was the purpose of this?
Spikes, Taunt, etc. So this particular game had a Magic Coat stalemate because neither player wanted to get hazards up, and
Wait, this is a real game?
neither player wanted hazards to come on their side of the field. What ended up happening was both players used Magic Coat again and again and again,
They're just using
until
spikes
it
now.
ran out, and then they
my
both got Stealth
God.
Rock and Spikes on the field.
What is going on, dude? All right, let's see what we got here. We got, if you told an old school Diamond and Pearl black white player this team would be UU legal in a decade, they'd probably shit themselves. This team in UU feels like an invasive species that's going to displace the local wildlife. Breloom Scissor? No, this is oh my god, this is the most OU thing I've ever seen in my life. This is the most, okay, so if you don't know Smogon tiers, OU is overused. It's the highest tier. It's the most common that isn't Ubers with all the legendaries. So this team right here is all like the very good Pokemon. But since damage or power creep has occurred, they've all been reduced down to UU, which is underused. It's a lower tier with underused Pokemon, which is hilarious.
For the final memes of the day, on the left, we have one of the most powerful teams in Generation 4 OU, which is the standard play. But if you fast forward to Generation 9, that's literally a second tier team. You take the best Pokemon of Generation
Which, to be fair, in terms of power creep, that's not that bad. I mean, we're talking like, what? Almost 15 years at this point for it to be dropped to a second tier team. It's still a good team. It's still good Pokemon. So it actually tells me that the power creep actually in Pokemon is not that bad.
4 and add in power creep, and now it's literally a second rate team. And finally, our last meme of the day, we have a Dragapult getting outsped by Electrode. Dragapult is the fastest relevant Pokemon, but technically Electrode is faster, it's just not relevant. But if you were to use Electrode, you can take advantage of a choice-banded Dragapult by hitting it with Foul Play instead first. So much for being the fastest Pokemon in the format.
Oh, that's really funny. Poor Dragapult.
That's all I have today, and if you want more, make sure to join the Discord down in the description below. Thank you for watching.
You are well. Freezeye, thank you so much for making such wonderful videos. Please go and join the Discord, have a little bit of fun in there. And if you want to see more of my dumb face, you can always subscribe here as well.